Bandcave. We are live. Oh man, that's loud. That's a good thing. We have Chris Boss in here today. Chris, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Hey guys.
This is cool. Thank you for bearing with us and getting this all.
My pleasure.
I'm very sick today, as y'all can tell. I've got my Kleenex here and my Altoids and my water, and that's really about it. So the more and more y'all want to chime in, Jorge, Mike, y'all, everything working in there?
Yes. Yeah. We got
Yeah.
We're checking the.
Loud and clear, man.
Anyway,
Mike
so
and I are
everyone
here in the. I wanted to say.
perfect.
Mike.
Well, everyone out there watching, this is what we're doing. We're going to be doing this once a week here in the Bandcave, a podcast, just to talk. Someone from the community. It might be a musician. It might be someone that owns a restaurant, and all that good stuff. And we're fortunate to have Chris Boss here today.
Thanks for inviting me. Glad to be here.
Guitar expert of San Antonio, man. I'm so stoked that you're here. And tell us a little bit about yourself. And you want to start off with, I know you got a new album coming out pretty soon.
That's actually the first time it's ever been announced. Right there.
Really?
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. Well,
Is it?
I think
Yeah.
he's gonna.
Have not.
Nick's unwrap the present.
Did I screw that up?
No, not at all.
I hear the producer on the record he does an okay job.
He's all right.
He's all right.
He's all right. So have we announced who's also on the podcast yet?
Yes, I haven't done that yet. Yes, so we have Jorge Palomo over there. You're hitting everything's working. This is our very first
Yes.
one, so I'm a little sick and
We're
and I
working
don't
out
know
the
what's going
kinks
on.
here.
And we've got the doctor, that's what I call him, Mr. Mike Randolph in there hitting the knobs and everything. So awesome.
Yes.
Good deal.
So yeah, I'm gonna be releasing an album, a brand new album. I've been working with my buddy Jorge Palomo for a long time. Worked with him on my previous release, which was an instrumental EP called Evolution. When you guys supported that, thank you. But this is a little bit more, I guess, ambitious endeavor. This is a full rock, release with complete with vocals. These are rock songs. Super happy with the progress and the direction and the momentum we have right now, and it's something we've been working on a long time. So yeah, I'm happy to announce that we're looking at a imminent release for a single, and then hopefully by summertime we'll be able to release the whole.
And when was the last record that you put out? How long has it been in between records now for you?
That's a good question. Jorge, you want to help me with that? It's been 2 years, 3 years?
Yeah. Well, little dude. How old was little dude? How old was Liam?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, you do
it's
have.
been
So you
longer
have a
than
son also.
that. I do.
Oh,
He's
right,
5
yeah.
years old. His name's Liam, and he is, man, he is
And I'm sure he loves music as well.
amazing. He was
He's on the album, actually.
He was on the album at the very beginning.
I did hear that. A couple years ago when you let me. That's right. I forgot.
Right.
Yeah.
My favorite song from that album, from Evolution that we're talking about, instrumental record, was a song called Liam's Song.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
right.
we released a video for that, and you can find all this stuff on YouTube and iTunes and all that good stuff too.
Well, great.
So that was my third album. So this will be my fourth coming up.
Well, that's great, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what. I mean, I've heard your stuff before, and I didn't even realize that Jorge had done a lot of your recording on the last record. He showed me some stuff, and I said, "Wow, that's pretty good, man. We need to start working together in the studio." So yeah, you're kind of the reason why I have this guy hanging around all the time, But I'm just kidding. No, it sounds fantastic.
Studio.
Do what?
I'll never leave.
I'll never leave.
I'll never leave.
So how did you approach this record that's coming out? I mean, versus the last one, did you have any new things you wanted to do, or?
Well, so I can
Try
say
out.
that the last instrumental record was sort of, I guess, kind of a experiment in a way. It was all done at my house and my home studio. And it was, instrumental music and rock guitar, kind of, I guess, shred, I guess, if you want to call it, is something that people always associate me with. But it's not really all I do. But, my previous releases have been not really specifically aimed at that genre of music.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there was a lot of people that were like, yeah, man, it's great, but we want to hear you do your thing,
Yeah.
So I feel like that was for a lot of my friends and fans that like that kind of music, and more importantly for myself.
Yeah.
because I love
And
that
It's
music.
interesting also how it came together too, because I was in California at the time.
Yeah.
Like, remember, like, so, because I had been, right before I left, I think I did a couple of gigs with you, Chris, and you had told me that you were putting your studio together.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, we kind of talked a little bit of gear, and then, like, all of a sudden, like, you know, you went and got everything and then put it all together. And then I moved, and then I think I was back for Thanksgiving break, because I remember I was here, it was November. It was at some point in November, and, like, we sort of, like, I was like, hey, man, I'm in town, you know, let's try and figure out what that, let's check out your studio. And then we went in there to sort of experiment on some songs, and then, like, the first one kind of just naturally came out, you know, and then, like, we sort of, from there, we started kind of building on everything, and it turned into an EP. We were only going to do, like, 1 or 2 songs.
Right. Yeah, and it was just kind of like experimenting with tones and making sure everything sounds good, and we just both kind of had this, you know, and I can also just, like, pause right now and say, like, I have the utmost respect for Jorge, just like I'm sure you do, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
He is super, super, just way ahead of his years. He's a mature guy. He's fantastic to work with. Like, we have a lot of the same, you know, ways we think. Like, a lot of times I'm thinking something and I don't know how to express it. Like today that happened. We were talking about some harmony examples that we wanted to apply to this song. And I'm like, yeah, I'm thinking for this chorus, we can do something kind of like an old school sort of country, like sort of, you know, floating melodic lines and stuff. And he's like, yeah. And then we went on to the next subject. Well, an hour later, he's like, dude, you know what I'm thinking? What about something like this? And he pulls up something
Black Hawk, man.
from Black Hawk. And I was like, that is exactly what I was trying to convey.
Yeah.
We were already thinking the same thing. And so, yeah, I mean, he's just been really, really great to work with, and you know, I couldn't be happier with the position I'm in to be able to utilize him.
Well, honestly, like the ideas that, you know, we always go back to, you know, I play country music, and we were talking about, even on my next record, you know, possibly pulling in some sounds from the 90s and stuff. And I think it's great when you go back 20 plus years, 25 years now even, you know, the bands back then, I mean, you had to actually play really well in the studio. Yeah, there were some studio tricks, but now, you know, now it's all about, you can record anywhere and make it sound pretty good. But if you go back to those old records and really listen to what they were doing, they were really having to sell melodies. So that's what he opened my mind to, going back to these old records.
Well, Nick opened my mind to the world of 90s country, which I was never, I had never
Which
heard
is
before.
awesome.
I'm a nerd, man.
Hey.
No, that's not nerdy, right? That's not nerdy that I like 90s country. I've always been kind of 10 years in the past with music. You know, I've always been that way. And honestly, man, your music, I think there needs to be more rock that's out now like that anyway. You know, with some good guitar playing.
There is a void, I feel like that, and I don't know if it's just because that's not what's being consumed right now by the public, or it's just, I don't know. I mean, if you go to the grocery store, you're gonna buy what's eye level and right in front of you. So if radio did a better job at presenting that product and letting people, you know, make their own decision what kind of cereal they want to buy, instead of just like carrying like 5 brands.
Yeah.
Then you might have a different palette of music for people to listen to. But I also will say that I draw on all kinds of resources. I mean, you know, influences myself. Like Jorge probably knows, but I was like a long time like country guitar player for hire.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, dude.
Oh,
I
great.
played with a bunch of different bands and some regional touring acts, and got to open for some really big artists and stuff.
Well, that's great.
I love country music. I was thrown into it kind of accidentally, thinking that, oh, this is like country music. This is going to be like, you know, country bumpkin kind of basic stuff. And it might be for certain instruments or certain applications, but for the guitar playing, like at the time that I was learning it, I was like, wow. I was like, hold on a second. I had just like a huge respect. And then all these, like, it became to like what I refer to as like country shred.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm the exact opposite of you. I started out just playing nothing but country, and I still do. But then as the years have gone by, I've had to learn, other tunes and stuff, and playing, cover venues and stuff like that, as we both, all of us know. And it's like, well, I have a whole new respect for rock too, and country. I will say this about country music: it is, I think a lot of people hear it, and it's a little cleaner, obviously, the licks and stuff, especially from the 90s. 90s country, right? It's a little cleaner. It's not overdriven. But with that being said, man, you have to be on your toes when you play it, because you can hear all the screw-ups.
Man, absolutely. I had to rethink my approach, and, even some of the things that I learned about, for instance, like this is kind of guitar nerd talk to those people that are tuning in. All four of you. I don't know how many people. Whatever's going on.
Are we up to?
Mom?
We're up to 13.
Did your mom chime in? Oh, she already she clocked out.
She's out. Okay, so that won't matter.
That's okay.
Man. I
Shout out to I know Nancy's watching. Shout out to Nancy and Liam,
my wife and my son. Love you, honey.
and shout out to Roy.
This is like our first gig. You remember your first gig, and your mom showed up, and like your next door neighbor, and that was it.
I know.
No, this is great though.
Hey, mijo, I'm here to support you. Whatever you want.
My mom still comes out occasionally. She does, and I think she does because I think she thinks she has to. I think she, but I feel sorry for her because I'm like, man, my poor mother's got to hear these same songs I've been playing for 30 years. Again.
Hey, you better not be like that when your kid starts playing sports. Yeah, I'm there just so I feel like I should be.
I definitely won't. My dad came out. We played in Houston. I played in Houston with George Dukas Saturday, and I don't think I'm good enough on the guitar to play for George Dukas. But anyway, they had me, and it was fun. And we got on a bus, and it was all that stuff. And my dad showed up. He went all the way to Houston. It's hard, I don't see him that often in San Antonio, even though he lives here. But I'm just kidding. But
hey, we got a few new people on. Priscilla Perez, that's your niece.
That's my niece.
Yeah,
all right.
Hi, Priscilla.
Janelle Garcia is sharing it out, and she says, hey.
Oh, word, yeah. What's up, Janelle? Shout out to Janelle.
Awesome. Shout out to Janelle.
She must
Good
be
thing we have big
single,
families.
that's why Jorge's all happy.
No, that's true.
My wife's probably not watching.
That got awkward.
Where's the edit button for that one?
The edit button. Yeah, this is a family
Awkward silence.
zone. But anyway, back to the music. I'm anxious to hear your new record and everything. When will you think it'll be released? What's the
Jorge?
date?
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, no, well, we're it's been a good like year and a half, maybe almost 2 years that we've been just really incubating the ideas, because like when Evolution was released, like it was really awesome, like, because what had only started off as like sort of experimental thing ended up becoming this like really solid project, of both of our ideas like together. And so like there was a lot of stuff that happened during the writing of that record that we were like, maybe not for this one, you know what I mean? Not for this. Let's save that one. So we had like 2 or 3 ideas, and so when we got back together again a couple years ago and started to brainstorm like the new album, we were both kind of I was doing a bunch of stuff. Like I was out of town with my brother a whole bunch. Mm-hmm. And then I know that for a while, whenever we kept on talking, you'd be like, man, I've got like a double Wednesday, double Thursday, double Friday, and then I got to do this. And so it was like, there was a while where we were both like super busy, and we were always trying to kind of meet up. And whenever we did have the chance to meet up, we'd be like, all right, let's work on this. And then eventually, like, these milestones, started happening into where now the songs are ready, and like the last thing that we're really kind of working on is really polishing the vocals and making sure that this next album, like, with Chris wanting to now have a message, I mean, like, not that Evolution wasn't, but that was a message of like, let's try this out, let's see how our ideas in the studio work. This is more like now, Liam's grown up a little bit more. You've gone through life a little more, and so you've got more to talk about. And so like we're trying to be a little more heartfelt with this, and so it's taken a little bit of time. But now that things have slowed down for me and Chris, fortunately at the same time,
Well,
so I think I think a release.
I don't know about that.
Huh?
do things ever slow down, man?
No, I
right?
mean, it's great. Like, it's a blessing to be, be able to do what we're doing. Nick, you can attest to this. This is a beautiful place, by the way. This is
Thank
awesome.
you, man.
I want to ask you what your plans are for this place, but like, Jorge's talking about. So those of you guys that don't know Jorge Paloma, aside from being my co-writer and engineer / producer in studio,
Yeah.
he works here at your studio.
Yeah.
He does engineering, but his main job is also composer, probably producer, engineer, co-writer with his brother Alan Palomo in the band Neon Indian.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
Neon
Which,
Indian.
if you don't know Neon Indian, you got to look them up. I mean, really, really super, super cool stuff. And talking about 90s country, I feel like there's some retro elements in there that...
Oh, man. When I met Alan, so I can actually, when Jorge called me and said, hey, man, my brother's going to be in town. They need a place to cut some guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah. And they actually decided to come over here and use this place to do the guitars on the record, man. I was just beside myself because they're super talented. The albums, going back to what we were saying before, no rules. Alan has no rules. It's just whatever I love everything he's doing, man.
Well, I remember your mind was blown at the fact that we were like going in direct with a guitar tone and like, you know what
yeah.
I mean? Where it's just like
Now Rogers, baby. Now
the
Rogers.
Oh, man, just
You know that cat? That's his thing, man.
plug the guitar
Into the console.
computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, just straight in. Yeah, the country thing, I mean, all these years of playing guitar in the studio and on stage, you rely on an amplifier. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you rely on an amplifier for your tone, and fortunately,
say,
the new
I-
gear that's out, we don't have to do that.
you
anymore.
haven't
Yeah.
really had too much experience with like digital stuff, right? Like, 'cause
No, I
that
haven't.
was because like with Fractal, for example, like my first sort of experience on with Fractal was Chris actually, and funny story about that's kind of how we met as well, like a little bit along those lines.
We have to tell you that.
Did y'all
We
meet
have-
at the music store? Don't tell me y'all met at the
No,
music store.
no,
Okay.
no. It was at a gig, and I remember we were playing at the Falls, and it was like a multiple band thing on the bill, and we had played, and this kid walks up, and it was like one of those things where the other we had just finished, and the other band was bringing their stuff on,
Yeah.
and we're in this like whirlpool of
And
gear,
Steve was there, right? Of course, was Steve doing sound at that time?
No, it was
Okay, no wonder.
Oh
it was
no,
like-
he was. Yeah,
Was he?
Steve was there.
Okay.
That's right. Yes.
And I always, every time I hear the name of the Falls, I'm not interrupting, but I gotta throw Steve out. Poor Steve, man. That was a tough gig, man.
It was.
Anyway, keep going.
Oh no! So just this kid comes up and was like, "Hey man, I really like your tone. Like, what are you using?" And I'm trying to ball up my cables, and I got this drummer bringing a hi-hat stand right by my face, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm using this some other stuff. Like, just got a bunch of stuff going on here." And I felt bad because I felt like I kind of blew him off, but it was just bad timing, And I was like, "Yeah, man, we'll talk in a little bit." And then he's like, "Yeah, for sure, man." And then, so I get all my stuff on the side of the stage, and I'm talking to somebody off stage right after our performance, and I remember hearing this like just grooving bass, like it just sounded ridiculous. I'll never forget. It was the song "Aeroplane" by
Oh yeah,
Red Hot Chili
I
Peppers.
love that bass line, dude. Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
who is this band? I look over and it's that kid that was asking me about my gear. I was like, that was him. That kid was Jorge, and I was like, wow. And I just spent the rest of the thing just like watching this guy. I was like, man, this guy is really, really good.
Very
Too
good.
good for this band that he's in, if I may say.
I don't want to ask what band it was.
We're not going to talk about it,
Okay,
but
good. We won't say anything.
he was the best part of it, in my opinion. So we started talking. It turns out he was looking for a gig, and I was kind of in between bass players, and so yeah, that's how we met. But
Well, then of course, obviously, he was now he's
from
recording.
there, the
now-
rest is history.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
I can't even think. I'm all sick and stopped up. But
Yeah.
oh, by the way, I'm a producer. I'm an engineer. I can play a little guitar, some keyboards. Yeah, I can. Pretty good with the mouse. And the rest is history. That's great. That's how it is for me now.
I started. I kind of swapped out from there, and then I started playing full time with Chris, and then it was like a year, year and a half or something like
Doing a
that.
lot of traveling and stuff. I asked a lot of him. I'm sorry, dude. I asked him to
Those Dallas trips were worth every
4
mile.
or 5 nights a week. Two of them were in Dallas.
So the band back then? Who was the band? Was it three? Was it a trio or was it four guys?
We kind of floated in and out of different guys, but I've always been a trio.
Oh,
From the very beginning.
Okay.
And
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Power trio, bro.
yeah, I just
I
it
wish
just seems to simplify things. It's
I'm
just something
I'm gonna go see your live show before long because that's what's bad about us all being musicians is we miss each other.
No,
I
you never
have
get to-
I have friends of mine that I've never even seen play.
Yeah.
Just online or they come by here, but
even like touring acts, like most of them come through and it's like, man, I would just it's hard because when you do it for a living, it's cool. Like, you can say, okay, cool. Friday night, I got paid on Friday. Normal people, normal. I mean, like just non-musicians.
Yeah.
Well, we're kind of normal. I don't know.
No, we're not.
All right, you're
No,
right.
yeah.
We're not.
Look what we're doing right now.
Right.
This isn't really that normal.
Abnormal.
This is the most normal thing
We're abnormal. No,
Yeah.
no.
No, it's a commitment when you have to like potentially think about canceling a gig to like go see a band, and it's tough to see live music. It's tough.
It is, and my wife the last few years has really been on me about that because she loves live music and she says she enjoys my band, but I don't believe a word she says. But anyway, but anytime I am off, I have made a conscious effort to reach out and to the people that I know that like we went and saw the Mavericks at Green Hall a few months back, and that's another band I've always been a fan, huge fan of the music. Never seen them live, and it changed my life a little bit.
It's hard to. I've had
like
this. We've had this talk a couple of times with people that are like, it's sort of hard for us to like, the word vacation is it can be a very loose term when you're in this sort of when you're in this industry, because like sometimes you're fortunate enough to be able to combine a vacation with, you know what I mean?
I know you've done that before, right, Chris?
Oh, yeah.
I've done it. I've done
yeah.
it. Yeah. Oh, by the way, honey, we got a gig in Houston.
Yeah.
Come on.
Liam is 5 years old. He's been to Disney World 4 times.
That's perfect.
Because we play once a year in Florida. And
Okay, great.
That's our family vacation slash gig.
And make some money.
But, and seeing like, I feel like that in turn kind of says it all in the sense that like when it's when it's a freelance game, a day off is money not made. So when you add vacation to it,
I know.
and then you're in the red. You know what I mean? So it's like,
and I've explained that to the wife. I have, and still, no, we need to go do something. We need to go do. But it's true, right? I mean, we can all kind of defend ourselves here. I mean, it is really hard to. It's happened numerous times to me where, we'll go do this, and then I will get a call, and it's like a big private party or something, and the money's great, and you go, oh man, and that's the sacrifices you got to make to do this stuff.
Yeah, well, even like Jorge. So we were talking about the album and what was the the workflow like and everything, and I was talking about Neon Indian, and some of you guys listening may not have ever heard of him, nor had I and I didn't realize until I saw some of his Facebook posts and stuff, and we're talking and we're getting the momentum going on this current album, and I'm saying, hey man, what's your schedule like first part of next month? He's like, well, I'm gonna be in Ireland, and then we're going to Australia, and then I think we're going to like South America, and then so I'm supposed to be back. I know I'm going to be back on Wednesday, and I'm like, what? Like, yes, that's the weight of, that's the popularity of this band, and like, wow. So that's to get back to the album really quick, was just the part of the delay is this dude's going to play these
I know.
festivals
All these weird places.
in these faraway countries, and it's amazing.
Dude, so yeah.
Well, I mean-
I've had to go through the same thing. Like, you
I'm
know,
s-
I won't be
I
here
feel like-
next week. I'll be in London.
Yeah.
What?
I feel like we're pulling both of his arms, right? to work with him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And turn into Stretch Armstrong.
No, but it's. I mean, I'm fortunate enough
We love
to,
you, man.
to be able to do that. Man, I really it changed. That kind of was a bit of a whirlwind, and when it all started happening. So I mean, it took me a while to get used to, but also, man, I'm really, really fortunate to have friends like you guys that, you know, like that I want to continue to work with and do cool shit with. But
Friends that'll put up with you? Is
Yeah.
that what you're trying to say? Okay.
Exactly.
Friends in low places.
Friends in low places. Yes, exactly.
Someone should write a song called "Friends in Low Places." I feel like that could do something.
Could probably
it
go
might be a
somewhere.
hit. Might be a hit.
Got to start thinking rhymes though. Low places. Remember today we were working on rhymes for stuff.
Yes.
How about Oasis? Does that rhyme
Faces.
with places?
Sure. Yeah,
Cases.
Yeah, cases, road cases in
Beer.
low places.
24 cases.
You know, 24 cases. Yeah. You start writing songs on this podcast.
Hey, bro, don't tase us.
Anyway,
I don't know.
yeah.
Hey, man, we've hit a thing. We've gone into the 20s in viewers.
Oh, 20.
Yes!
Oh, so my cousins are tuning in now also.
Celebrate good time.
Come on.
So shout out, I got Arthur Toscano, Mark
What up, Art?
Mark Bundren, Kansas
Mark.
K's,
Art
Oh,
and
wow.
Mark, Kansas.
Tinajero, Randy Forrest, Clayton Harrison's watching.
Oh, Clay's watching. Oh man.
Yeah, and Elsie Wu.
Elsie Wu.
Thank you guys. Elsie
Yeah.
Wu is that's my
Your aunt or something?
sister-in-law. I'm sorry, Elsie.
Guys tuning in, thank y'all so much.
Yeah, you guys are
Thank y'all
awesome. That's
very, very
family
much.
right there. That's Priscilla and
We're
Elsie.
just getting this ball rolling, so trying not to screw up too much. Try to think of things to talk about. Speaking of that, I did make a list, but it got thrown away. My list got thrown away.
Okay.
I might have blew my nose with it. I don't know. Today's been a rough day for me. I woke up this morning. I told you all earlier. I woke up this morning and I go, oh my God, I am screwed. I can't. I got to do a podcast tonight with Chris, and
Can't even tell what's gonna happen. We're all gonna have to talk like that, so it just sounds normal.
yeah, exactly.
It's the mics, the
Well,
tuning of the mics.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I'm not singing today.
I've got that shaggy voice going on here.
You got, dude. Yours was bad last week. Was it last week?
It was pretty bad. It's like the cedar. I think the cedar gets me pretty badly here.
It's South Texas, man. It's just everyone always has this problem with
And
sinuses.
Clayton's tearing you up on the.
What is Clay saying? I don't even want to read. Clay, I don't care what you say. Anyway, people just tuning in. Hopefully there's more than 20 of you now. But anyway, we are here with Chris Boss, man. And we're talking about the new record. I did make a note here. I want to talk about, we can all talk about this. Can you recall what your worst gig ever was? And tell us about it.
Man,
I think a lot of people tuning into this want to hear, like, this is cool. And
I don't
please
have
don't
one.
leave out any detail.
no, I don't have one in the can. I really don't. I haven't had any. I've just had a bunch of weird stuff that's happening for sure. I can't have.
That'll work.
I mean, there's been a time where I've forgotten my guitar. That's kind of crucial.
Classic. I think that one goes. That one, everyone has to have one of those.
And you know, it's like, viewers, really, dude, you have one job, and you'd be surprised how hard it is to remember that job. Yeah, no. So I showed up to a gig without a guitar one time. That was pretty bad. But you know what? I got to the gig and I was like, oh man, you guys aren't gonna believe this. You're not gonna believe what I forgot. I brought the PA and all the mics and the cables and everything else except my guitar. And there's like, and so one of the, you know, there's, I feel like you guys always have that gig where there's always the guy that's always at the gig. Hey Nick, man, what's going on, dude? Hey,
Oh,
can I get
yeah.
you something to drink? Like the guy that's
yes.
always at the bar.
Oh my gosh.
And he's super, super helpful. So
Oh,
much
yeah.
that it's like overly helpful. Well, there's a time when that dude,
Is your
your best
the savior.
friend.
The savior.
it is, because
Hey,
he's
Chris,
like, dude,
Wes is asking about the old man that heckled you at Martha's 20 years ago.
That was great. Thanks, Wes, for setting him straight. That's when you always got to have backup.
See,
Yeah.
the jogging the memory,
I
man.
mean-
Jogging the memory.
Definitely not the worst, but definitely not my favorite. That's why it's always good to have friends in low places, right? My buddy Wes was like, listen here, old man. Some guy was complaining about the volume.
Oh, God.
And Wes pointed out, hey, man, this isn't your boardroom meeting. You're at a bar, and there's a live band, so take your bullshit outside, and I'll go with you if you don't shut your trap. And I was like, I love you, man. I do love you, bro. My buddy Wes has been supporting me through many years. In fact, he texted me the other day, hey, this is turning into bullshit. When's this album ready? So, now you
I have
know.
a Wes. I have a Wes, too.
Tell Jorge to quit going to London and
Yeah, man.
Around
So you're
the
going to be
world
here a
so
while.
I'll be here for a while. Yeah.
You're going to retire out of the Bandcave, I guess,
yes.
doing podcasts
I'm
and
gonna
talking about
turn into the Bandcave hermit.
the Bandcave Hermit.
Who goes there?
Who goes there? I'm already the Bandcave Hermit. You got to have Bandcave Hermit number 2.
Yeah.
Something, you know. So okay, you have a house gig in San Antonio.
Uh-huh.
You have a house gig, and it's every night is it? And where is it? Is it at Mad Dogs? Is what I'm thinking.
yeah, Mad Dogs every Thursday and Sunday, and from 9:30 to 1:30.
Yeah.
And Mad Dogs has been like the greatest just thing that's almost I start thinking about my son and my beautiful wife, of course. Not musically speaking, Mad Dogs is the greatest thing that's happened to me because it's given me stability. It's given me a platform to, you can understand as a band leader that it's important to keep your guys working. And by that, I mean my band.
Oh, I know.
You know,
Trust me.
you can't expect guys to commit if you have 2 gigs that month,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if they're quality musicians, they're getting offers from other bands to join.
Of course, yeah.
So what happens, all the quality musicians get snatched up by the guys with all the gigs.
Yeah.
So what's been great for me is that I've been able to keep the guys working and, offer them a sustainable, schedule and stuff. So what's great about Mad Dogs, my favorite thing about the scheduling is that it's, there's no PA involved. I mean, that's kind of nerd talk, but there's no sound and lighting is there. So it's kind of an easy setup and an easy tear down. But the clientele that rolls through there, it's hilarious.
So that's the thing. It's like downtown San Antonio, like a lot of tourists, right?
Oh, man,
the spot.
I remember even when playing with Chris, like, didn't we have we had the Rock of Ages cast?
Yeah, the cast of
roll
Rock
through
and
one
Ages,
time?
Rock of Ages got up and did like a routine to like one of our tunes or something.
You played Pour Some Sugar on Me, and like
That's
the
right.
dancers were like getting on the car, like
and
trying
doing the whole
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Really?
We've
Yeah.
had like actors, wrestlers, and famous musicians. I mean, just like a who's who that goes through there, and it's
Wow.
cool. Like guys from Iron Maiden have gone in there, and what's cool is like they're usually like super cool. They're musicians, so they
Yeah.
get up. When the guitar player from Iron Maiden was there and was like, just stood on the side of the stage, for the longest time, just watching me, and I was like,
That's got to be weird,
I
right?
can't believe that he's still there. Like, he's just like with this smile. He's just like watching me do my thing,
Yeah.
And I talked to him afterwards. He's asked me about my gear. How are you getting your tone? Or what are you using for this? And I was like, why am I having this talk with you? Like, why are you asking me this in my little BS little club setup? But super cool, man. Invited me to the show, gave me a full ride, the pass, and introduced me to all his friends. That's happened with Judas Priest.
That's so cool.
Guys like from WrestleMania would go in there every Sunday because it was like Monday Night Raw. So
Yeah.
once a year, all the wrestlers would go in there, and it was like Ric Flair and guys like just
Wow.
just cool.
So is that how you met Billy? Is it Billy Madison I'm thinking
Billy
of?
Madison.
Is that what you told me or no?
Yeah, he knows Bill, but no, Chris. Yeah.
I don't know if that's how. I don't know if because of that gig, because that's you and I were talking about this last week on how awesome that it is to have that house gig, but it just you meet so many different people all the time.
Yeah, it is great for that. I mean, it's been really great. That's not how I know Billy, but Billy's a great guy too. That is engaged to my sister.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. Okay. Wow.
Right.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, then that's awesome. So this new record, man. You
No, I was gonna say Anthony posted a comment, Chris,
Yeah.
about
Anthony Alaman.
You could, yeah. Shout out to Anthony.
Bass player buddy of mine for many years, dude. Loyal, awesome bass
Thanks
player.
for tuning
man.
in, Anthony.
Thank you, brother.
He says you could share lots of adventures like blowing up a transmission, running out of gas, and riding in the back of a cop car in the middle of the night in Flower Mound, Texas.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
See, I mean, how long is this podcast? How long do we have?
How much time you
do
got, buddy?
By the way, I was not in the cop car because I was in trouble, but because, wow, how did that happen? So I picked up my van from having the transmission repaired because of hauling gear all the time. And then they're like, no, I don't know, it's not ready. I'm going, are you sure? Because he told me it was going to be ready Friday. I need it for Dallas. Cool. You know what? It'll be ready. Okay, great. Go down there, pick it up. No, you know what? It wasn't ready because in a place called Flower Mound, Texas,
Where is that?
it's somewhere
Of
between
all
here and
people,
Dallas.
Nick,
I
I
can
think
tell you
you
that, in the
would
middle of
know.
nowhere.
I didn't know.
I feel
I've
like
never heard
it's
of Flower Mountain.
North Dallas. It might have been on the way to
It's
Oklahoma, but
northwest, kind of north of Fort Worth, even.
there you go. Okay, so we were probably on our way to Oklahoma, and oh, that's what it was. The van wasn't ready. He goes, look, the van's not ready. Take my truck. With the keys.
No.
Awesome. Not revealing that his fuel gauge is kind of works, but it kind of doesn't. Yeah.
So y'all ran out of gas.
We ran out of gas on a halfway full tank, according to the gauge, in the middle of Flower Mound, Texas. And we're like, and I mean, nobody, dude. Like, just total darkness on the side of the road.
Was this before cell phones? I mean, I know.
No, yeah,
I
we
always
called-
ask that question because there was a time, kids, there was a time where we didn't have cell
You
phones.
don't know how good you have it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, wait
No,
for
the
a baby.
drummer was in the back seat. And he goes, hey, well, you know, on the back of your license, there's like a number you can call, like roadside assistance. And I was
Wow.
like, oh, okay. I didn't know that.
A lot of people don't know that.
I did not know that. So there you go. If you're ever in trouble, look on the back of your driver's license. There's a number you can call for help. And that's exactly what happened. So we're waiting there, and here comes a police car from Flower Mound. And the guy said, y'all having trouble? I go, yeah. I think we ran out of gas. And he's like, well, I can take you to get some gas. And then I was like, oh, that'd be great. Okay, so he's like, I got to put you in the back.
What?
I guess policy, or I don't know what, just for whatever reason, maybe just made it
Put you in the back of the truck.
Yeah, he wanted to embarrass me a little further, keep
Flower Mountain.
your eye on that gas
Did it
tank.
cross your mind at any moment there that could be like the beginning of a horror movie? Like, wait a minute, this guy's taking me somewhere.
It just felt weird, and I
Like
was,
Leatherface, right?
Anyway,
Ooh, that's scary.
yeah. So he's a nice guy and helped me out. Thank God he showed up. And
Back
we
there with
had
the chickens and the
yeah,
back of the truck.
yeah. Many.
But it helped. But you know, then did y'all make it to the gig?
Yeah.
Wow.
The thing I also remember, Anthony, do you remember that his radio didn't work, but the CD player did? And,
Oh, did y'all have a CD on loop?
well, he had 3 CDs in his club box.
Kenny Rogers.
It was bizarre. I don't remember what it was. I think one of them was like Tejano, or I don't know, man. It was weird. It was weird. But,
Janelle's asking Chris if you still get starstruck.
it's a good question. Depending on who it was. I've been lucky enough to like open for a lot of great artists, many of which were and still are my heroes. Steve Vai kind of
man.
starstruck
Oh,
me.
yeah.
I opened for Steve Vai.
Wow.
So yeah, no pressure.
No pressure at all,
Right?
dude.
Just go on before this guy.
He plays all right.
You want to know something funny about that was that we had sound checked and everything, and it was like the moment like the house, all right, and the house lights went down, and then I was supposed to start with this riff, and I started with the riff, but nothing came out.
Oh my
And, I was
God.
like, and
Really?
the band's like looking at me like, dude, what's going on? And I had nothing, no signal, amp was on, I don't understand. And the Steve Vai's roadie, his guitar tech, came out and like did a quick like robotic scan of my pedal board and like narrowed it down to my wah pedal, which
Ooh,
apparently
yeah.
was plugged in, which was not on an AC power. Kids, listen to this. This will save you. if you have a cord plugged into a wah pedal, it's active. So if you're using a battery, it's going to essentially drain your battery
Gotcha.
that whole time. So what happened was I just left my guitar cord plugged in, ready to just hit the stage and rock,
And the
and
battery
drain
was
the
gone.
battery. So there was no signal going through that. So there was nothing coming out. So Rhodey got that, and he was like, "It's your wah. Hold on." Runs over there, grabs Steve Vai's wah off of his pedal board, plugs it in. You're good to go, man. Wang. And I was like,
Holy crap! Really?
using Steve Vai's wah. So that whole show was wow, 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 was all wah-wah'd out, and the band's like, "There's not even wah in this part. Just
You gotta use it.
it was so great."
During the rhythm,
Yeah, just
rhythm part
everything
was
had
just-
wah on it.
yeah.
Just wah.
Dude, remember when
That's
Glenn's...
crazy. That's a good story.
Dude, it's
Dude,
true.
the Glenn wah on Friday, that was a...
Oh
that
my
was
God. dude.
completely unrelated, but...
Yeah, we were
Glenn-
singing like Amarillo by Morning or something like that. Like one of those,
Perfect
one of
place
those-
for a wah.
one of those like slow ass country songs.
He
All
was
right,
trying to do swells.
Yeah,
and
he
it
was
wasn't
trying
his- and it wasn't his rig.
it's a Boss GT10 for any gearheads out there. It's and
Yeah.
the way it's set up where you put when you stomp on the volume all the way, the wah engages, and then you can use the pedal as a wah. Well, and it's not because Glenn has a fat foot either. It's not because of that. It's not. It's because I did the same thing, and I told Anthony, I said, dude, you really need to get that fixed because that's gonna be a problem in the show. And yes, it was. What were we playing? Like
No,
Cowboy
it was-
Rides
it was-
Away
I
or
think
something?
It was Cowboy Rides Away or like Amarillo by Morning.
Wow, 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 wow.
What the?
He was trying to do a swell.
What
He
in
was gonna-
tarnations?
Dude.
People
So, yeah,
dancing.
I thought that when you said like overactive wall, that's what that reminded me of.
The people, I just reminded me from like something from like Blues Brothers. This ain't no country western song. It's like,
What kind of...
wow. Yeah, but so you met Steve Vai.
Yeah.
So how was that?
It was great. I mean, he had not blown up to the status that he, of course, is...
Is that yeah?
I feel like 90% of the people watching don't even know who he is. He's a guitar player. Probably a lot of people respect him as being probably one of the best, probably living guitar players. But he's an instrumental guitar player, so he doesn't have like hit songs like, Hendrix and like,
Of course, yeah,
Foxy
yeah.
Lady and all that. But for a guitar player, I mean, a lot of guys, that's like the top, So
Oh,
I
yeah.
got to meet him. I opened for Kiss. I got to meet them.
Oh, whoa, really?
And you're talking like idols of mine.
Well, yeah, of
so
course.
like just to be on the same stage that they're on is just been amazing.
How is Gene Simmons in person? Like when you meet him, I mean, you see the reality shows and everything. And I went and saw Kiss. I guess that was like 9 years ago or something at the AT&T Center.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just freaking out that I'm actually even there. You
Yeah.
know, how did you talk to him at all?
Yeah, he was.
Is he?
He didn't have much to say, And in their defense, like, I feel
They're
like
huge. I mean,
guys love to say like, "Oh, I met that guy. He's like he's an ass."
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like that's
I
just
always
the
ask.
default kind of like response, but when you're at that status and somebody wants to come up and run up and tell you you're great, like that should never get old, and you should you should absolutely go out of your way to thank people that support you and respect you and all that. And
Sorry.
it probably gets a little old, a little tired. Like, what are you gonna say to these people to provoke them into like an engaging conversation with you that they haven't heard already? So
Well, I can just imagine at that level when you're, every other night or whatever it is, you're in a different city and there's just radio and everything you gotta do, and photos, pictures, everything, meeting with people, meet and greets. And then I even get sick of it at times when I have to play just 2 gigs in one day. And at the end of the night, someone that usually comes to see us or whatever will come up and I just don't want to talk. I just don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to go sit down and drink a cold beer and just be in my own zone. So I can imagine how these guys are. They're on a different plane all the time, and so
they were
I
all
always,
cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
oh
they're
yeah.
all cool,
I'm sure. I always sympathize though. That's why I asked, because I always sympathize with guys that it's a awesome life because you're playing in front of millions of people, all year, but at the same time, it's strenuous. You know, it's on family
I'm
and
sure.
everything.
I'm sure. I mean, even I don't
Yeah,
want
I
to.
can't imagine.
I'm not putting myself in any
That
of that like that sort of level, but just from the even just when we were in Asia and we did six weeks in a row, it was by that third, fourth week, man, and you're just like meeting different people every day, and it's not even so much that it bothers you, it's just it's a little bit more of a processing kind of deal. You know what I mean? Where like you see different faces all the time. And we're live.
We're live now.
Sorry about
We're back
that.
on. Sorry about that.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties. Yeah, they shut off the power because I didn't pay the bill. So
We had to call Time Warner and CPS real quick.
we had to call Time Warner and yeah. But
We're on generator power right now, actually. So as long as we don't run out of gas, we should be good.
it's like we put $5 in. That should get us through to about 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sounds great. It happens. The internet stuff happens. So
Interwebs.
you can hear me?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can see
we're
me?
checking the
Everything's-
stream. We're good.
What were we talking about? We were talking about, well, I do have some things on this list here. I want to talk to you about the Spurs, the San Antonio Spurs, and I have seen a couple of your performances on YouTube playing the national anthem. How first off, how is that? What does that feel like?
That's amazing. That's a great, one of those things that fell in my lap. I mean, well, it didn't really fall in my lap. I kind of went and got it, but,
Yeah.
just one of the most surreal, amazing, like, moments you can think of.
I can imagine, man.
And I was telling somebody the other day, they're like, man, what is that like? Like, do you get nervous? And I'm like, in a way, I guess, but not. The only time I ever really get nervous when I'm performing is when I'm unsure of something. Like if I know I'm performing a part and maybe we haven't rehearsed it, or I've never really, I don't get nervous a lot. I get anxious, I guess, and excited. So I've
Yeah.
always gotten excited to do it, but yeah, I mean, it's just so great. I mean, being a musician, you know what it's like when you're playing music, performing live, unless you're doing like a concert performance. You know, if you're playing at a bar, people are talking and dancing, and some are paying attention, some of them aren't. In a moment like that,
Oh yeah.
there's no talking. Everyone is standing at attention, focused, and kind of judging you.
Yeah,
Honestly.
like who's this guy with the long hair
I'm gonna
playing
wait
the
for him to
national
mess
anthem?
up. I know it's coming. Just hang on, wait for it. The high part, he's gonna blow it.
I know.
So that's, and it's so cool. Just so awesome.
What's the prep for that? What do you do? Like that do you just sit there and shred and practice over and over, or do you come up with new ideas? And
Yeah, I've like changed keys, which for guitar players know, it's pretty much totally changing it. But
yeah,
obviously, if you change keys on it, then you're playing it completely different. And so I ended up kind of defaulting to E, which is, for me, it's a little more natural. It involves a lot of open strings, so it's a little more free because you can rely on some strings to ring for you. But yeah, the prep for that is basically just finding a key that feels good. And then, like the notes of it, the performance of it, it's not a difficult piece at all to play on the guitar, but because of the weight of what it means, that's the hard thing. And I was talking to Jorge about it. It came up a few days ago.
Sorry.
Huh? Sorry.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Are we good?
I didn't say anything. Yeah. I was checking the stream. Go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
I didn't say anything.
I'm talking to you now. A week ago.
So
Right.
So the Spurs. So what were y'all talking about with that tune? I mean, national anthem. I mean, obviously, right? It isn't that hard to play, but at the same time, if you screw one of those notes up, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna get crucified.
And an electric rock guitar player, as I am, it's, for me personally, the hardest thing that I kind of like, struggle with is not overdoing it.
Yeah.
Because there's people that say like, man, that's your moment. You can just go crazy. But for me, it's not really about me. It's about what that song means and what I can do to convey my respect for what that song means. and it doesn't really necessarily involve me going crazy on it. So
Yeah, just like that's one thing about sometimes too many notes just doesn't mean anything. You know, it's just in what most people out there. That's what you were saying earlier about a lot of people may not know who Steve Vai is. Well, there you go. I mean, people are just used to basic,
right.
melodies.
Yeah.
And just the honor of playing out there on that court with playing
man.
guitar to the national anthem alone is.
It's been great. Okay, I'll do it. I'll tell the story about how I did this.
Yes, I want to know.
This is hilarious. It's so sad. We were playing a gig, and a guy came up and said he liked the band, and we just start talking. It turns out he works for the Rampage, and which is owned by the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
And I said, hey man, I've always wondered, how do you guys pick who does the anthem for that? And he kind of like a light went off, and he said, you want to do it? And I go, I have always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to do the anthem on guitar. He's like, let me find out, dude. Let me get your number. I'll talk to some people. I'm gonna get with you. So he calls a couple, and I really thought I'd never hear from him. He called me a couple days later. He goes, hey man, it's me. We met at the bar. I talked to some people. This is how we do it. So, to generate revenue and bodies in seats in the for hockey, which quite frankly we're in Texas. It's not like a super popular attraction. So they are trying to invent ways of bringing people to the arena, understandably. And they said that the way they normally do it is that they'll have like a church group or like a school or something like that, and then they'll have them sell tickets to see their performance. So
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay. He's like, so come down to the AT&T Center. And I was like, wow, this is really happening.
This is really happening.
Pick up some tickets, and I want to know if you're available for this date, for this performance. And I was like,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So, so sad. I go down there and I pick up this giant stack of tickets, and the thing is like maybe a month away or several weeks away, and I start asking people in the bars and stuff if they want to buy tickets to this hockey game, and they're like, no, we're good.
Nah.
Man, after about the
good.
20th person I asked, I'm just like, this is so sad, dude. I don't know. I mean, so the guy calls me about a week out from the performance and asks me, hey, so how do the ticket sales going? Well, it's kind of slow, I guess, but I'm trying to feel them out.
Got about 50 people so far committing to go.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
I could not
To
sell
the
a
hockey
ticket. I could not sell a ticket to the hockey game. They were like $10 a piece and whatever, and so I tell the guy, I didn't reveal that, of course. I just told him it's a little slow, but I mean, like, what would you say, like, what do you need me to hit or what? He goes, I don't know. I mean, like, that's hard to say. I go, well, what's like the minimum, like, that you need me to cover? He's like, I guess maybe like 30.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. I did the math, and I was like, $300. Yeah, that's right about, I think, where I'm at right now. I think that's what I've sold. Of course, telling a little white lie.
Yeah.
So he says, okay, well, yeah, okay, well, so we're good, I guess. Bring that in, and we'll do the thing and whatever. So, I paid him $300 out of my pocket
Oh my gosh.
to do the anthem.
Wow.
Yeah,
So it did mean a lot to you.
it did, and I was willing to pay $300 to do it. The good news is that
You got a lot more out of it
it
though.
was right after that the Spurs called me and asked me to do it. No, they called me back to do the Rampage thing, and they said, you know what, don't worry about the tickets, you're good. We need you for another performance. And then the Spurs called me, and then I think the last time I performed the national anthem at the Spurs game was probably like maybe the 6th or 7th time I've done it, something like that.
Wow.
So
That's great, man.
along with my relationship with the Spurs, like with performing other things like during halftime and little segments with the Coyote, and
Yeah.
just being a part of the organization's awesome. The band plays out there at overtime, and some of the live performances and stuff.
Yeah, of
So
course. Yeah, yeah.
being a super fan of the Spurs,
Me
I've lived
too.
here my whole life. It's just so amazing being like in the back catacombs of the arena and like
I know.
meeting the players, and it's just been so great.
I'm glad you had a good experience with it. We did it one time. Nick Lawrence band played at the Spurs game, and I guess it was like between an intermission or something, or I don't know how we did like
inside of the
inside the arena, and the coyote had like a tambourine and he was messing with us, and I guess we didn't. I don't know why we didn't do like a sound check or something, and I couldn't. The delay was they reassured me. They're like, oh, just sing, it'll be fine, don't worry, and it was rough. I heard that we did a good job though.
That's all that matters.
I heard we did a good job, but it was just
matters.
like, it's just like, I got friends, and well, it's just like bouncing around.
Yeah,
and
that's weird.
it was really weird, but that's awesome that you're able to play where everyone can, you have everyone's attention playing the national anthem. I mean, that's more of an honor.
Yeah,
but that is amazing though.
It's I think it's definitely I think a pretty it's a pretty unique thing, I think, to be able to like know what I mean, like have that many people's attention just on you for those 3 minutes, and even then to like remove yourself sort of from it. And
how many people are in? Like it's
Shared
like
and
26,000, and when it's packed, AT&T Center, it's what?
Yeah, I think it's 28.
28,
I
right?
think capacity, something like that. And I will say that prior to the last few times I've done it, they had an old like jumbotron, I guess, for lack of, I don't know what there is. I guess they're still called jumbotrons.
Yeah,
the center court,
screen,
LED thing. So they just recently spent like a ton of money renovating the AT&T Center. One of the things they spent a ton of money on was a new jumbotron, which included all LED surround sound, and the sound system in there was like just night and day, amazing. So prior to that, I would use in-ears. Which was really cool because like, I guess it's the thing where you like when the singer or the guitar player or whoever's doing the anthem, when you hit the high note, everyone screams and yells.
Yeah.
So I remember having my in-ears, and having it be like so loud that I could hear it through my in-ears. But since they renovated the sound and stuff, I went down there to like test my guitar, and you stand right on the logo and stuff, and you do a run through, and man, I took out my in-ears and I was like, this sounds amazing. Like I tell people, if you would ask me the question, when has your guitar ever sounded better? It's that moment. Because you get this rain of speakers down right on the center, and then you have the, I guess the ambience of the arena.
Yeah,
on
of course.
the outside of that, so you're in this little cylinder.
Stadium.
It's just, it's amazing, man.
That's incredible.
Well, and you're using, you've always gone direct. You've always used a fractal.
Yeah,
right?
I use AXFX Fractal Audio. I'm using the AXFX 2. Fractal, I'm your guy. I've got
I guarantee you he's watching right now.
4 of your units, so for sure he's
definitely watching, man. Everyone's watching.
it's Ron Fractal, I think it is. So Ron,
Ron.
that's not true at all.
Oh, I know Ron. Ronnie. Shout out to
Come
Ronnie.
on, Ronnie, hook a brother up. Give me something.
Fractal.
Yeah.
You've never up until recently, right? That you used to kind of like started messing around with like direct amp stuff.
With gear in general, my whole career, I know a few things. I for some reason I didn't dive in like a lot of my musician friends have, but especially with this new stuff, the Axe and the Fractal, right? So it's just I don't even know.
The two main ones are at least from the ones that I have experienced, because there's tons. But
so you use the Fractal, Chris, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Fractal is AXFX is the brand, and the Fractal. Well, actually, the brand is Fractal Audio, and then their unit is AXFX.
Okay,
they have a 1, 2, and now a 3. They have an Axe 8, but that's their.
It's like a little
that's all they make.
board.
Fractal just makes
I think
that.
Glenn has an Axe 8, doesn't he?
I definitely have.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, Glenn has an Axe. I've played through them. I mean, they sound amazing. I just never have owned one myself, so I'm gonna.
There's a learning curve, and it's tricky. I've borrowed Glenn's input, and he's helped me like basically set up my board and tweak some things. And I like having objective ears also for EQing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I've aside from it being easier for me to convey, like how about a little bump, low end, whatever, and then assigning my current setup. Jorge just we just set up.
Dude, that was fun.
It's pretty awesome. It's using a Fractal AXFX 2 with a RJM Mastermind GT Pro. I think it's a 16, but it looks like a spaceship pedal board. But it's great, man. Really great.
Oh yeah. I definitely in studio. I mean, I don't use an amp unless I really have to, but you can do anything in the studio.
Well, Slate has that S gear. That's great.
S gear is very good too, but now there is a difference though. I hear the axe stuff is, I should have used it when you brought it in here. I should have. I didn't know how to turn the thing on even, man.
How's it?
Well, it's funny.
What is this?
It's funny you bring it up because I have one for sale, Nick.
Well then great. That is totally fine.
Sold. This is totally my
first
plan,
one,
actually,
which is
just to
great.
get the two of y'all together.
I want to try it out. I want to. No, I'm serious. I've been wanting to do
It's
this.
working, Jorge. He's buying it.
I need to read up on them a little bit, and see. But no, I definitely think that's the future, man. I mean,
Hey,
and
Chris, Billy says hello, Billy. Sorry, real quick.
No
Billy,
problem.
What's his last name?
Billy,
Not Billy Madison.
Billy.
Bill Fletcher. isn't it?
Billy DeLaverne.
Oh, Billy Delaverne. Oh my goodness, dude, yeah.
Hey, Billy.
Anyway.
Billy, how you doing?
Sorry, continue. He says, "What's up?"
Yeah, I
Herradura, Billy. Herradura. Me and Billy used to drink a lot of Herradura back in the day. Tequila. Yeah. Got me in trouble a few times. We're not going to go into that. Anyway, the Fractal.
Yeah, but amps, I don't know if amps will ever go away 100%. It's a guitar amp. I mean, that's rock and roll right there.
Well, you were just listening to a video where you were playing out of
Excuse me.
Bogner.
They'll call back. My phone just fell into some
Oh,
wormhole down here.
yeah, we'll find it. We're going
You
to
gotta
kidnap you. That's
your
step
hand
one
into
right
the
there.
abyss.
That's plan A. No, I'm sure we can grab it. It's probably under the chair.
Here, let's.
Oh, look,
let's- what's
he's
going on?
he's down in there. Did you find it?
We've got you on the wide
Okay,
angle.
oh, there it is. Ow. There it is.
Hi, I'm back.
My nose is running off my face right now. This is bad, man. I can't believe I'm sick on this first podcast. Anyway, viewers, just tuning in. We have Chris Boss with us today, along with, of course, myself and Jorge Palomo and Mike Randolph. Mike's in there. How things? Anyone else chiming in, Mike? No.
Yes, my wife was wondering when I'm coming home. She wants me to cook dinner.
Mine just called, so I'm sure they're probably talking to each other.
Now you got.
What are these knuckleheads gonna wrap this up? My wife doesn't talk like that, by the way.
Raul Flores just
saint.
came in. He said he wants to do the podcast.
Oh, dude, Raul. What's up, Raul? We got to get you on here, dude. We'll definitely do that.
Definitely, man. We're gonna have plenty of these
Oh, dude, yeah. And Chris will
every week.
We'll definitely.
My wife says, "Are you still there? It's not on Facebook anymore."
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's here. She had to go. You have to go to a new one.
She's got to go to the new one because remember
Sorry to interrupt the podcast.
No,
I'm going to send
it's all
some
good. We
some
had some
instructions to
technical
my wife.
people that are. She's got to click on the new live because the podcast stopped and then now we're home.
Okay. Click on the link again.
Well, and honestly, this is supposed to be we talked about an hour, right? We call this the Bandcave hour, but if it goes longer, it's fine if we're in deep conversation, but I'm going to leave it up to you guys, Mike, really, if you got to go do the dinner thing.
No, man.
I thought he was serious. Hey, man, I haven't eaten dinner yet. We're going to have to think about that for next week. Like, should we have some pizzas here?
We need a food sponsor.
We need a food sponsor.
The after party.
A food sponsor. Yes. Yes. If we did this on Mondays, it'd be pizza, I tell you.
I think we're two Tuesday somewhere.
Something, man. Even taco, did this
Camilla's,
dude. Mexican restaurant, the greatest. But
well, what are did you don't have any more bullet points?
like I said, I'm not lying, man. I had a list that I made earlier, but I don't know what happened to it. But I definitely wanted to talk about the Spurs. That was one of the main things because I think that'd be one of the. If I had to do that, if I had to go put a national anthem on guitar for a Spurs game, I know I would be extremely nervous. That's just me because I've never had to you know. I don't consider myself a real guitar player. I just, you know, it's
Aw,
just
shucks.
no, seriously, like, you know, something about just playing, and it's that tune. It's like I think it would just eat at me, like, oh man, any second, dude, you're gonna hit a wrong note, you know.
Man, I mean, you don't realize until you get the recording back of it, which the Spurs are super great. They'll send me a HD recording of, you know, audio and video from my performance, like every time I do it.
Yeah.
And it's always like, you know, you kind of like got your chest out after, if you feel good about it, or maybe you're like, I don't know. And this is true. I feel like I can ask you about this. Have you ever had like a performance where you feel like, yeah, man, I feel like we really did well. Like, I feel like we, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Feel like you had a good night, and then you look at a video and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
man, I thought it sounded better than that. Or there might be a time where you're like, that was awful. And you look at it and you're like, actually, that was one of the better ones.
That actually happens to me more than the other. Like, there's nights I'm like, I'm not on. It's not working, man. You know, I'm just not feeling this. And then we go back and watch video. And
Recording yourself is a completely, entirely
Very
different monster.
unforgiving. That's what I should say. Performance of the anthem is like very unforgiving. Every little pick, scratch, and one little note just seems like so huge.
Well, not only that, too. I mean, also like attire, right? I mean, we've done some gigs before where, you know, I'm just like, no one really cares. You know, I'll just leave just a t-shirt and some tennis shoes on, and you know, and got my beer on the top of the amp, and just not caring, you know. And then when you look back, you know, he's like, man, that looks bad.
Yeah,
that it just looks like I gave up.
Things that you got to clean up and tighten up.
And things you say. You know, we're going to learn that on this podcast. Nick, don't ever say that again. You know? Don't blow your nose directly into the mic anymore. You know. No, seriously, it happened a couple months ago. We were looking at a video, and I was just in a kind of a foul mood, and I just wasn't feeling it. And we had an early show, and I felt like it was probably one of the worst performances I had. Man, I didn't feel like I was hitting the notes. Singing just was not. It just nothing felt right, man. My guitar would not stay in tune. And then you look back at the playback, and it was pretty good.
Yeah,
it was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Like, so I think a lot of it's in our head, man.
It's whenever you think you're having a shitty gig, and then you like sort of look back at some sort of recording, you know, and you're like, well, that was, you know. But I think it's a mentality thing where you end up like, in a sense, I guess, without going to the extreme, but if you're not caring on stage because you're sort of not really paying attention, then and you've done it long enough, then autopilot takes over, and it's usually, you know, you're more in your head than your body is, you know. And so I think that's...
How many times has this happened to you, Chris? Jorge, I know this has probably happened to you, where it's a packed house, someone's calling me. That's Mom. She's not watching the podcast. How many times has this happened where you're playing and it's a packed house and the band sounds good and everything's rocking, and then you ask yourself, what the hell am I doing right now? I don't know what song I'm playing. I don't know, and the next set of words just comes out, or the next group of licks, you're just on autopilot.
Absolutely, man, all the time. There's times when I'm like, okay, I don't know this verse. What's this verse? Here it comes. Uh-oh, and then just it comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
It really does, and it's like, I didn't do that. My brain did that, and it's
kind of scary.
Happens a lot. It's cool though. It's a cool feeling.
It is. But I always had to ask that because.
But you know what? Like, really, like you're talking about critiquing your performance. What makes a good performance? Does a performance your most perfect note presentation? Is it, how much of it is attitude? And your audience, what do they perceive a good performance? Is it like, well, it sounded really good. Okay, is that the perfect performance? Or is it, man, that guy was like a lot of fun. He's hilarious. I'm going to go see those guys again.
Exactly.
You know, perfect performance means something different to every person. So, I mean, you can't really, it's almost like, well, who's the best guitar player? Well, what do you like? You know, what's good to you?
Exactly.
You know, there's no, you can't win at it, you know.
And you know, I'm kind of guilty of that myself with, you know, Vince Gill, for instance. Vince Gill, you know, hell of a country guitarist.
I have a ton of respect for that guy.
Incredible vocalist, and So me and Ashley went to go see him a few years back. He came to the Laurel Auditorium, and man, and it wasn't just the fact that, and I've seen him a lot of times, but in this particular performance, he was just in rare form, man. He was even funnier than he usually is, and that just made it way more enjoyable. The fact that the personality on top of
Right.
the mountain of talent this guy has.
Yeah.
So that means something to everybody else.
I would say ultimately, I guess the perfect performance is if about to get
crazy.
deep and philosophical here,
philosophical.
but I mean, it's as long as somebody walks away with a smile on their face, after watching you play,
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most perfect performance that you could have,
That's it, and that's why this kind of robs your soul when you have to play shows like, like Michael Carey used to say, he's just going, yeah, man, don't worry about it. We're just wallpaper tonight,
That's true.
We're
what's
just
weird?
but we're gonna get paid, but that's why I play music. I want people to enjoy themselves when they hear my music, and I don't know if every artist feels that way or not. Some guys don't care at all. Some guys just, I'm gonna do my thing and that's it, no matter.
Right, but you can't.
I can't do that.
You're providing a service, and to me, it's like being in touch with what's going on. Like, I was just telling somebody the other day about, like, I was doing, like, there was a day when I had three gigs in one day, and they're like, how was that? And I was like, well, the first one was really weird. It was the first thing in the morning, and it was at like Top Golf, and they were doing like yoga class.
Awesome.
And it was a solo gig, so I was like, okay, let me assume my role for this performance.
Yeah.
And you realize that you talked about wallpaper.
Yeah.
For that performance I am, but for my persona and my performance is for that performance is going to be way different than the third gig I had that day.
Yeah.
At like the club where people are like dressed up and they're ready to rock and have a good time. So I think the best performers are the ones that can adapt to each
Very
scenario.
True. Yeah, I agree.
Like one gig in particular that San Antonio Rodeo would hire me for. It was a very, very nice corporate event, and it was like 5,000 people, and they have a big star on the main stage, and they put us on this big stage on the side. But the reason we're hired to get the people drinking. We're hired to get the people drinking and to start conversing and to start slowly dancing and get them ready for the auction, man.
That's right.
It's all for the kids, right? And I had to continue to tell myself that, because I look at the set list and I'm going, you're not going to play these songs.
Yeah.
You need to change this up. You need to play songs that will get this group of, and then it takes finally a few people to show up where you go, and just to look around. I've been doing this especially in San Antonio for 20 plus years, but just to look around and go, okay, this type of song is going to work now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I've always liked about kind of running my band that way. If you stay into a specific set of songs, doesn't always work.
Yeah.
Until you get to the show.
Right.
And I have a lot of people tell me I'm crazy for doing that.
So do you write set lists, or do you call out audibles?
I call
He
out.
definitely calls them out,
I call them out,
especially if you don't know them.
Yeah, on the bigger shows we do, if we're headlining Flores Country Store or Lukenbach Dance Hall or something like that. Yeah, or even at some of the nightclubs, we have a list, and I try really hard to stay right on top of it. But then, if something's just not working, whether the dance floor's not moving or people just aren't digging it, I have to change it up. And I don't see anything wrong with that,
Yeah.
A lot of guys won't do it, though. Just stay.
Yeah, no. But that's...
Oh, screw them.
I'm going to do what I do.
I'm gonna do what I do.
I'm going to do it. And that's fine, too. I respect that also. But but honestly.
But and I mean, yeah, if that's sort of your thing, that's cool. But I think
In the cover band world, I think you should definitely have...
Right. If you're trying to do if you're being an artist, you know what I mean, and you're trying to express yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
That's one thing.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
if you're there to provide music for people, and
because there's
you're
so
there
many
just like
songs
as an
I know.
employee.
There's so many songs you have to learn, right? That we just don't want to.
Huh?
There's songs that we have to play that we just don't want to play, but we just have to
Oh,
play.
dude. I'll go right out. Brown Eyed Girl, man.
Oh, I know.
It's classic.
People love it, man. You know, and I've been playing it I think that's probably the first song I ever played or something.
Yeah. And I
It's
don't
definitely-
think I've ever actually heard of the real version.
Oh, I have, and but I've, you know, you get sick of that, you know. In the country world, it's Neon Moon. That's the one that all the country bands like. Oh, I hate, you know. But you play it, and the dance floor gets packed. They won't dance to that brand new one that's out, you know.
Yeah.
The new Neon Moon.
The new Neon Moon. Sun goes down on my side of town. Just real fast or something, you know? Or a polka version of it.
Someone's asking, a couple of people are asking Chris about the Karabi show.
The Karabi show. So, yeah, this is many years ago. I was in a band called As Is, spelled A-Z-I-Z, and we are doing a reunion show, and it's going to be an unplugged version of all of our original music from that band As Is. And so we are the opening act for John Karabi, who was the lead singer for Motley Crue for a long time. Yeah. So when Vince Neil did his solo record, which I might say is one of my favorite like solo rock records of all time, that had Steve Stevens in it. Anyway, don't get me on that wormhole. Yeah, so As Is, my former band, including myself and the 3 other original members of that band, which are just cool guys. We're all still friends and stuff, and just our careers have gone different ways. We're opening for this guy, John Karabi, the former singer from Motley Crue. It's
So when is it?
Fitzgerald's, and I don't have a date. I know it's coming up, and we should start rehearsing for that, guys. If are y'all listening, you guys from the band. So, but yeah, I'm excited about that because, you know, the MTV Unplugged kind of generation. I thought that was a really, really cool movement, and it allowed listeners to see different sides of their artists and strip down and see if the songs still hold up. Yeah. So that's what I'm curious to see, because we are having to make some, some arrangement changes and some different approaches to these songs that were just straight rock songs.
Yeah,
and we're gonna have to do some time changes and just, see craft re kind of work these tunes, and that's what I'm looking forward to the most, is just hearing a different version of these tunes that we used to play. So.
Definitely, I definitely want to see that. Is that on a weekend, or is that gonna be like do you know if it's gonna be during the week?
So
really?
It should be off.
Oh,
Yeah, I
should
think
be
it's on
off.
a Tuesday or Wednesday. So that's when the promoter asked me about it. I was like, yes.
Oh.
I know nothing's going to interfere, and I apologize. I don't have it. I don't have the date for that. But also, I should mention my website is chrisboss.com.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the things that we're talking about. You can see Liam's song. You can see, which is the music from the last album, Evolution, which Jorge and I collaborated on. You can see my schedule. You can also, you'll see the John Karabi show on there. You can also
April 9th, Nancy to the rescue there for you.
April 9th, there you go.
April 9th.
I hope to see all you guys out there, because I'm
So that is a Tuesday.
Hey, you know how we're talking about being nervous? I'm a little nervous for that show, because right now
Are
we
you?
have not rehearsed for it. I don't know what we're going to do. But
Oh, I'm sure it'll be
that's
great,
what
man.
rehearsal's for, and that's what, that is to take away that.
Are we gonna do? Maybe we should do it's a Tuesday.
Oh,
maybe,
dude,
maybe
yeah.
do a live podcast
Do a
from
podcast
that
from-
from
Yes,
the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because
That
I
would
want to
be
do
sick.
that for our March 28th event with Fowler, the Rustic.
We'll be your guinea pig. You can try
Yeah.
it out on us. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, no, that'd be
So,
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go and hang in the green room and right before the show, hang for like half an hour right before.
Yeah.
And
By the way,
Fitzgerald's, by the way, also.
viewers, if you're just tuning in or if you've been watching, we're definitely going to get Chris back in here to do some music on the next, not the next podcast, but we'll be letting you know soon when we're going to do this. I want to jam with you.
I do too. That'd be
yeah.
I'm
awesome.
going to get a drummer in here too and just really
Oh yeah,
rip
yeah,
this
yeah,
up.
yeah. We got some people in the mix.
Mic everything up. And
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna-
Awesome.
okay, so it's gonna be pretty awesome. So, yeah.
So I got a question for
Sure.
y'all that could probably spark some more. So influential albums, top three influential albums.
you go first.
Go. You go first.
There's so
You
many,
go first.
man. Because I don't want to.
Desert Island top 3 influential albums like that you just like from when you were little.
From when I was little, Appetite for Destruction was
Ooh,
definitely.
yes.
Appetite for Destruction is definitely
A country guy?
I know.
What?
That's why I was hesitant, man.
Did we just become best friends?
I don't want some of my fans go, oh my God, he didn't say George Strait. You know, like I didn't want people to freak out. No, but I was in kindergarten when that album came out, and I still enjoy listening to that album, especially when I go to the gym. But that one, they're probably all rock records, dude. Is that,
That's totally
Ain't
fine.
nothing wrong with that.
Honestly, no, I will say there is a country record that from when I was a kid that Rope in the Wind, Garth Brooks was one of my favorites, and that's when he really got into rock. See, this all comes back around, he really just a lot of rock influences. And I have one more.
One more.
You said three?
You can leave it at
Dude,
those two. if you want.
there's so many, man. There's so many albums. I don't know. I guess I'd have to say.
Or why? Okay, why Appetite for Destruction?
Okay, dude, I was really young at the time, 6, 7 years old. I think that album came out in '87. So I was born like in '81. So the reason is it when it hit hard. And it was different. It was like Southern rock. It was honestly kind of sloppy. Honestly, it was just raw, and there was a lot of stuff was polished. Then if you can compare that to like White Snake, Here I Go Again record, whatever record that was, I love that record too, man. But there's some difference, man. It's just a little more raw, and it sounds like 5 drug addicted dudes in a studio
in
rock and
LA.
rolling in
Yeah.
LA. It sounds like LA, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, screw you, we're doing it like this. And I loved Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. I just was a big Guns N' Roses fan. I love Slash's tone. Everything about that. Man, Axl Rose is a lunatic, though. I don't know what I'd do if I met Axl Rose. I'd probably be either scared or I just run away. Scary guy. You're the jungle, baby.
Have y'all seen the reggae? Give me some reggae.
No, I
Y'all
haven't
need to
seen
check that out. Just YouTube, give me some reggae.
because I do sound all the time when not all the time, but quite a few times a year when I'm not playing. I'll go do festivals or whatever. I have a big sound system.
Okay, I think we're live again.
We're live.
Yeah,
We're now
just
we're
real
live.
quick, yeah, but y'all can. Yeah.
We are eventually. We're gonna wrap up soon, but so for those y'all missed when we got interrupted, again, I gotta pay that. I gotta call CPS again, man. I gotta get
we ran
this
out
fixed.
of time. We had to put another quarter.
Had to put another quarter in the machine. Had to go get some more gas for the
Ran out of
generator.
gas.
No, but okay. So you gave me 3 choices, right? I talked about Appetite. I talked about Rope in the Wind.
Straight.
And but actually the third, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's my top 3. It's definitely my top 5. But Chris can chime in on this. Is Avia Musicon Eric Johnson?
Oh,
that
dude.
record
Yeah.
is so. I could never play like that, but I love listening to it.
Yeah, this amazing tone and like very well crafted, and instrumental, but it doesn't bore you. It's not,
No.
and he shreds, but it's just so clean and tasteful and just musical
I
sounding.
mean, melodic.
What freaks me out about the album when I first got it? I guess I was really young, but Cliffs of Dover, of course. John Hernandez. That's what John Hernandez played that at the Taft High School talent show. I think I was 13 years old, and he might have been a senior or something. I don't know. And I freaked out, so I of course went and got the record. I didn't know.
So John's been awesome that long.
Dude, John plays the same. John plays when he was 17 the same way to me the way he plays now. I mean, yeah, he plays great guitar. But anyway, I didn't know that Eric Johnson sang. I just heard that song.
Yeah.
I think they played it on Kiss
Desert
back
Rose and stuff. Is that what
Desert
you're talking about?
Rose, yeah.
Oh, dude, that's a jam. That's a jam in that
man.
album. On that album.
Eric Johnson. Yeah, and I was telling Chris earlier, Jorge, that record, I literally, when we do sound check anywhere and we're setting up the PA, especially if we're setting up all the stacks and everything, we put that record on. I mean, Trademark's a good one that I like to.
Trademark's great.
But just to check everything and the way that thing was mixed. But so you got to give Now you got to tell us. Do you have your top 3? Maybe.
Man, this is tough because they're all going to be nerdy guitar things, but and in order, it's just top 3, not like number 1, right? Because you didn't do that.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that.
Have
Just
to pick a number 1.
Just
so
off the
neither did I.
top of my head. Yeah.
Top 3, I know influential was, man, this is tough because I have for sure, man, okay, Van Halen 1.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a great record.
Van Halen 1, that when Eddie just
Ripped
just
it.
changed everything.
Yeah. Van Halen 1.
You know,
1978.
I
think
believe,
it was. Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, I mean, that was the birth of a guitar player kind of carrying the band in a way to where, you know, there were songs, but people were, let's be honest, we were waiting for the solo to come up. I mean, at least I was anyways. That's when I thought it was cool that, you know, like you're like, oh, what is he going to do on this one? Like, oh, it's so great, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
And then Eat 'em and Smile was like that for me too, because then that became...
Oh, dude, that
The
one
next-
for sure. I mean, I think I gotta put that one probably in my
Top
top
5?
3 as well,
Top
dude.
3?
Like,
Really?
yeah, I
don't know.
that was when I first heard Billy Sheehan as like a bass player.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, not, I mean, you know, with Mr. Big as well, but I don't know what it was about Eat 'em and Smile that attracted me a little bit more, because it was like Steve and Billy on the side, but still like on the front.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know how else to explain
I
it.
need to hear that record.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, yeah.
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 I know. That's crazy cool, man.
And,
There's so many, dude, right?
I guess number 3 would be a tie between Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force.
Malmsteen, Yngwie Malmsteen.
And
He's pretty good.
And Passion and Warfare, Steve Vai. More Steve Vai again.
National Warfare.
Which, you know, like, you know, I'm sure if people, you know, if my wife's watching, because I feel like that's probably all we're down to right now, maybe one person. Honey, we've never talked about my influences. And they're vast, you know, but I always kind of default to like, you know, when I'm like kind of like just burned out, or if I'm having a bad day, or I just have a moment where I need to get back into me, it always kind of goes back to like instrumental kind of like guitar music for me, that because it's kind of, it can be backgroundy. I guess you can dive into it as much as you want. Music does that, does different things to people. You know, for me, it's like, you know, obviously being a musician, you know that you're kind of like, you can't turn off the analytical filter or like the learning mode, where you're like, you hear music and you're like, okay, cool, wow, all right, an A minor there is kind of cool. And I'm sure you know, I know Jorge is, and I'm sure you are too, the same way, where you can hear a song and you can probably like, if you had a guitar, you could play along, like maybe at least, which is great.
Yeah.
So like instrumental music, like Jeff Beck, man, those kind of guys are just so
good,
influential to me. But dude, influences of mine go from like Angus Young's attitude, Slash's attitude.
Yeah.
You know, Stevie Ray Vaughan's attitude.
I love Stevie Ray.
Hendrix
you can hear
is
it all
just
when they're playing.
out of the really.
Yeah, well, I mean, the attitude is like, and like the attitude is what I think what you're talking about. One note, you know, Stevie and Slash and Angus can all give you the same note and it'll sound different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Completely different. You
Yeah.
know.
It's their tone, everything. I mean, that's what makes what we were talking about that earlier. You know, who's the best guitar player in the world?
Yeah.
There's not.
Yeah.
It's just what do you like? It's what do you like?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, you want my top 10 guitar players? Okay. In no order: Eddie Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, Steve Vai, Yngwie Malmsteen, Zakk Wylde, Eric Johnson, Jeff Beck,
You've got an Albert Lee at home.
Stevie Ray Vaughan.
That's
In
good.
no order.
In no order.
Off the
that's
top of
hard.
my head.
That's hard to put. Yeah. Yeah, that's hard to do. Wow. Those
And
are
the
some
guy
good
from
ones.
Poison, what's his name? CC DeVille. No, I'm kidding about that one, totally. Love you, CC. Just, I don't know why, though. Sorry. I'm not being a jerk.
I'm sure he's going to be watching this very.
He is.
very
I'm going to get a
sad.
letter from his attorney.
At the drive-in.
In the old man photo.
Oh, sorry, but
Hey, Chris,
flipping the
do you-
mics.
Do you ever check out any of like the super jazz guitarist.
Yes, and man, I have so much respect for those guys because, yeah, Al Di Meola, even guys like George Benson. And
Oh, yeah.
just, guys that have like tasteful playing to me is like what I gravitate towards. And, for each of those guys that I mentioned, you could probably just do like a Rocher test, or I don't know what you say, like one word. Okay? One word. That would be a cool experiment, right? One word to describe a guitar player. Hendrix, go. What's the first thing you think of?
Crazy?
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Every time I think of Hendrix, I think of the guitar on fire. That just comes to mind. I don't know why, but
I would say like
experimental.
innovative.
Innovative.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he was the first to do a ton of
was.
stuff. And
He
so
was.
many guys on my... left out Satriani. Anyways, whatever.
Yeah.
So many guys that we respect as guitar players that are from our era or genre all default to Hendrix. And
All the time.
all give him like... And it wasn't until later in my playing that I was like, who's this? Like, really? Like, I would hear it and I was just like, I guess it's
Yeah, I'm the
kinda
same way.
sloppy, but the more you listen, you're like, okay, and then you start realizing, wow, he spawned a lot of creative ideas.
I didn't listen to Hendrix until I was a little bit older. And ironic. There's a poster of him behind me.
He's right over your
hanging
shoulder.
right
as a
over my
matter of
shoulder.
fact,
Yeah,
from my view,
he's looking at me like,
he's looking down at me like, really,
Looking at-
bro? You're not gonna talk about me?
you know I'm the shit. You know I'm the shit.
He does have that attitude. Can we show? He's looking down like, really, man? Y'all gonna talk about guitar players
I didn't-
and not mention me?
I didn't. Yeah. He's like, yeah. It's a little scary.
You're awesome.
Anyway, but yeah, I as a kid, I just I didn't know any better, and but the more and more I listened to it, I just
So
respect
no
for that
Dimebag
time.
Daryl from either of y'all?
I know I didn't. You know what? Yeah, of course, Dimebag is badass. There's just like we were saying. There's so many we can't think. It's like dude. I remember where I was when Dimebag died.
Oh man, I think a lot of people will do it.
A lot of people, musicians for sure, right? Remember that. Yeah,
Randy
I was in-
Rhoads.
yeah.
I mean,
George
like,
Lynch.
George Lynch.
There's so
absolutely,
many
dude.
guys, man. I mean,
Even country guys. Who's the top dog, man? Like right now, I think of Brett Mason.
it's not,
'cause
of course,
he's like
Brett.
the first guy.
Yeah, Brett Mason, but
Albert Lee.
Albert Lee.
Albert Lee's been
Jerry
around for a long
Donahue.
time, man. John Carroll lives. I think John. Well, his brother's Randy Carroll, who radio personality for KG97, but he's played with a bunch of guys. He there's a clinic, you can see that on YouTube of John and Brett Mason, and it's killer.
Really?
Killer.
Oh,
killer.
man.
Killer. Good chicken
There's also
picking, man.
Johnny Highland. Have you guys heard Johnny?
Johnny Highland's
Highland,
killer.
yeah.
My favorite from the old days, I've always loved Jimmy Olander for Diamond Rio and Pete Anderson. Dwight
Pete
Yoakam.
Anderson, man.
Pete Anderson.
Dwight Yoakam's producer right there.
Good. Yeah, oh yeah.
He wrote and produced all those tunes. Like that killer tone, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, George Dukas and I were talking about this weekend. We were talking about Pete Anderson, man. How cool!
Yeah.
How cool!
And
Tone and everything.
And who's how about, is Brad Paisley in the mix?
Oh,
He's
of course.
on my
Well,
radar.
well, dude, Brad Paisley's amazing. Yeah, and Keith Urban.
Keith Urban.
They recorded a tune together. Brad Paisley, man. I've never
dude,
seen him
yeah.
live either.
I don't know how we could have forgotten about that. Dude.
Brad Paisley.
Well, we just opened up the country guitar players
Yeah.
can, so they're
There's a
kind of
song-
in their own genre.
There's a tune. I forget. I'm so bad with names, man. He's got a tune, and it's very like Eric Johnson. believe it or
Really?
not.
Brad
Oh,
on
it's
his
called.
record.
It's on his.
I know it's called "I Want to Check You for Ticks."
That's it.
No,
That's
it's
it.
not. It's not that
the
one.
one.
That's the one. That's
Man, you know what? I love country. That's where I check out, man. When you pull that on me, I'm
Yeah.
like, I love it, and I know you're being corny, but it's just like, ugh.
Oh, I know, dude. Oh,
You know?
trust me. And it's it's you gotta sell. You gotta sell the
I get it.
records,
I
but
get it.
He does have an instrumental album though.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's the one where the Eric Johnson-y one has, and it's got like a
Isn't
a
there
play
Clint Eastwood? There's a song on there that he does with Clint Eastwood, right?
on that album.
And Clint Eastwood's whistling.
Oh,
It's all instrumental, and Clint Eastwood's. Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. He's doing this. It's real melodic. It's beautiful. I wish I had my laptop in front of me right now so I could
Yeah.
or my phone.
That'll be an upgrade in the next couple of.
Yeah,
We'll be able to do.
We need to
but
have
yeah,
that.
he does have an instrumental album, which I think to his credit, he probably listens to a lot of the guitar players that we listen to, or that
Oh yeah, dude,
don't
you can
fall
so
under
tell.
that.
You know who's a quirky guy that is, I'm sure you know of? Junior Brown.
Oh god,
Junior Brown is so great, dude.
Dude, Junior Brown's a badass, right?
He's so great.
Loud,
And
just goes, man.
raunchy, and he'll do these like parody, kind of quirky, tongue-in-cheek traditional country songs, and he'll throw like these Hendrix licks, and the instrument he plays. That's on an
It's
interview
called
with him.
It's a Git Steel.
A Git Steel,
a
and
Git
supposedly he had a dream about it, woke up and wrote it on a napkin, and it's basically just a 6-string with a lap steel like bent
Attached to it.
built into it or
Yeah.
whatever, and goes into like doing like the pedal steel sort of sounds. And
And a lot of the shows, just like you, it's a trio, man.
Yeah.
Upright bass, and his wife. I don't know if they're still married, but years ago when I saw him, his wife played acoustic, and so upright bass, and I think the drummer had a snare drum
yeah.
and like a little ride cymbal, and that was it.
And
then just
like, you know,
killer.
you're talking about like attitude and stuff. What I hear from him is I hear like Hendrix 3-piece like raw attitude, but like country.
Oh yeah, he's
Like,
very good.
in your face, just loud, just kind of a little bit imperfect at times, but so great.
Oh yeah,
I
love
need to
Junior
check
Brown.
this dude out. I've never heard.
You never heard of Junior Brown?
No.
Check out a song called "I Hung It Up," and you'll laugh. It's funny. It's funny. It's funny.
for the highway patrol.
Yeah, he does the highway patrol also. Well, he's got this low. I could probably cut a tune from Junior Brown now with my voice. I used to drink. I used to smoke. I used to be a troublemaker, and it ain't no joke.
Yeah,
Junior
that's
Brown.
it.
What about do y'all like John Mayer as a guitar player?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I get pissed every time I hear a song by John Mayer though, because it just reminds me how good he is. When he first came out, I was like, oh.
Well, I feel like now
No.
he's getting attention as a guitar player a little bit more. I don't know if y'all saw his signature PRS. It's like a Strat PRS.
I haven't seen that. Did he really go on the road with the Grateful Dead?
Yeah,
Did I hear that?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, he was their guitar player for
That,
Crazy.
like how many people, and his name's come up in the past. I have the utmost respect for people that choose to default to the music that they want to play instead of what the producer wants them to play. Because let's be honest, he had a hit with Your Body Is a Wonderland.
Exactly.
And he was a little pop teeny kind of like pop idol, and he could have easily milked that for all it's worth. Like no
I know.
telling how much more successful he could have potentially been doing that. But once you get to a certain point of your career and had success, you have total power.
Oh,
You have
total
total
power.
control about what you want to do next. So I
That's-
have so much respect for him choosing to like revert back to like what he wants to play on the blues and that kind of stuff. And he's a great guitar
He's
player.
a great. That's what I was saying earlier. Like,
And singer.
making a joke, but every time I hear his stuff, I'm just sitting back going, golly,
Well, it's
this
rare to
guy.
see
It's not just the way he plays. It's his feel. His
Right.
groove, man, with the way, I don't know if that's, and I know it's not just studio magic, because everyone that has seen the guy live is, all of his live videos, you just sit there and go, Jesus, man, this guy is just on it, man.
Yeah.
that DVD that he came out with, Where
So
the Light
good.
is like one of my favorites.
I haven't seen him live either, by the way, so that's another one we got to go to.
Yeah, nor have I.
Yeah.
His drummer's named JJ Johnson. He's from San
He's from,
Antonio. And
he's from here, right? From Texas.
Yeah.
He's from Austin.
Yeah, I think he's from Austin, but he's playing San Antonio all the time. We should see him with some local bands and stuff.
Oh,
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
We need to make a list, so next time we do this, we actually have, because there's too many good guitar
We'll just,
players
like,
out there, man.
put Post-it notes all over the studio with
or
like
you need a
guitar players.
dry erase board where everyone comes in and signs it. And
All right, here's the way it's gonna go, fellas. We're gonna start off with Jimmy, and then we'll work our way down.
Work our way down. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Well, anyway, what do we?
We're almost at 2 hours.
We're almost at 2 hours. You want to wrap it up, man?
Yeah. So, Chris, where can we find you?
ChrisBoss.com has the updated schedule, and like we were talking about earlier, the house band at Mad Dogs every Thursday and Sunday night, 9:30 to 1:30. There's no cover charge. It's always fun and very spontaneous, and many of you guys listening or tuning in after this recording have come out and supported the band, and just I'm so thankful for you guys and Mad Dogs for the opportunity to be able to do this dream job for a living. So you can catch all my schedule, anything that's live on there, some of my original stuff. Also want to give a shout out to my boy Jorge for hooking this up with Nick and
Oh, man.
setting this up. It's
Thank
been
you.
great talking to you guys, and looking forward to doing it again. Also want to encourage you guys to stay tuned, because this new album is going to be
Yes.
awesome, and I'm super
It
happy
is.
about
It is going to be awesome, man. I've already heard a little bit of it, and getting excited.
Yeah, so-
Chris, thanks again, man, for
pleasure.
for doing this, man. And I think this was very, very awesome. Viewers, tune in next week, next Tuesday, same place, same time.
We're gonna have
And,
Mike as a guest
Oh
next,
yeah,
next week.
Oh yeah.
awesome.
So
Well then, good deal. And Mike, thanks for helping today too, as well. Jorge.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, y'all. Take care.
Ooh, me like Bandcave.